Family dinners at the Harrison household were always an exercise in humility, or humiliation depending on how you looked at it. I adjusted my simple black dress. Nothing like my sister Amanda's designer outfit that probably cost more than my car. Well, my old car anyway. Olivia, darling, you made it. Mom's voice carried across our sprawling dining room, practiced and perfect as always. We were just hearing about Amanda's latest promotion. Junior VP of Marketing at only 32. Isn't that wonderful? I smiled politely, taking my usual seat at the far end of the table. The same spot I'd occupied since Amanda started her meteoric rise in the corporate world 5 years ago. Far enough to be forgotten, close enough to hear every subtle dig at my apparently disappointing life choices. And what about you, Olivia? Aunt Patricia's voice dripped with fake concern. Still at that little office job? Before I could answer, Amanda jumped in, wine glass dangling elegantly from her manicured fingers. Oh, Liv's still doing that assistant thing at some company downtown. What was it again? Filing papers. I took a slow sip of water, thinking about the merger documents sitting on my desk at Monarch Enterprises' penthouse office. The same company that had just acquired Amanda's biggest competitor, though that news wouldn't break until tomorrow. Something like that, I replied quietly. Dad shook his head, not even trying to hide his disappointment. You know, I still have connections at Goldman Sachs. It's not too late to start a real career, Olivia. You're 35, but with my recommendation. I'm happy where I am, Dad. Amanda laughed, the sound echoing off the crystal chandelier. Happy? Filing papers and getting coffee? God, Liv, don't you have any ambition? Mom jumped in, ever the diplomat. Well, not everyone can be as driven as you, dear. Olivia is just different. Different. That word had followed me my entire life. Different for choosing public school over private. Different for studying business administration instead of finance like Amanda. Different for turning down Dad's connections to build something of my own. Did you hear? Amanda straightened up, practically glowing. William's company is expanding. They're acquiring 3 smaller firms this quarter. He's going to make partner by next year. Yes, William. Amanda's perfect husband with his perfect job at his perfect law firm. The same firm that had been desperately trying to land Monarch Enterprises as a client for the past year. That's wonderful, I murmured, checking my phone discreetly. The merger team would be finishing the final review soon. Oh, put that away, Mom scolded. I'm sure whatever office emergency you have can wait. It's not like you're handling anything important. If they only knew I'd spent my morning in a conference call with Tokyo, negotiating a deal that would reshape the entire tech industry. But I'd learned long ago that trying to defend myself was pointless. They'd created their narrative about me years ago and nothing I said would change it. Speaking of important things, Amanda set down her wine glass with practiced precision. William and I are looking at houses in the Heights. You know, that exclusive development where all the CEOs live. The one with the $3 million minimum? Aunt Patricia gushed. Oh, how perfect for you. I bit back a smile, thinking of my penthouse overlooking Central Park. The one I'd bought outright last year after Monarch's IPO. We might even have a neighbor, you know, Liv, Amanda continued, her voice dripping with condescension. Doesn't your boss live up there? Maybe you can wave to him while you're delivering his dry cleaning. The table erupted in polite laughter. I forced a smile, remembering the board meeting where I'd approved the bonuses for my executive team. My boss had been particularly grateful for his 7-figure appreciation package. Actually, I started but was cut off by Dad's booming voice. Now let's discuss the real estate opportunities in that area. Amanda, you should consider. I tuned out as Dad launched into another lecture about investment strategies. My phone buzzed silently in my lap. A message from my CFO about the merger numbers. Everything was ready. Tomorrow the business world would be talking about the biggest tech acquisition of the year, and Monarch Enterprises would no longer be able to keep its mysterious CEO out of the spotlight. Olivia, are you even listening? Mom's sharp voice cut through my thoughts. Amanda was just telling us about her company's new diversity initiative. She's leading it, you know, making real changes in the world. That's great, I said softly, knowing that tomorrow, Amanda's diversity initiative would belong to Monarch Enterprises, along with the rest of her company's assets. See, this is why you're still stuck in entry level, Amanda sighed, swirling her wine. No drive, no ambition, no understanding of how the real business world works. You need to be aggressive, strategic. Like you. I couldn't help asking. Exactly. She beamed, missing my tone completely. Look at me, junior VP at 32, married to a future law firm partner, about to close the biggest deal of my career. I raised an eyebrow. The Morton Tech acquisition? Amanda's perfect smile faltered slightly. How did you know about that? It hasn't been announced yet. Oh, you know, I shrugged. Office gossip. If only she knew that I'd personally rejected her company's bid for Morton Tech last week. The look on her face tomorrow when she realized who actually owned it now would be priceless. Well, she recovered quickly, when the news breaks you'll see what real success looks like. Some of us were born for bigger things, Liv. Not everyone can handle the pressure of high-stakes business. My phone buzzed again. The merger documents were ready for my signature. In less than 12 hours, Amanda would learn exactly how wrong she was about who could handle high-stakes business. But for now I just smiled and reached for the breadbasket. Sometimes the best revenge is simply waiting for the perfect moment. The dinner dragged on, a parade of subtle insults wrapped in concern. I checked my watch, just as the dessert was being served, right on schedule. Leaving already? Amanda smirked. I guess the filing cabinet needs organizing early tomorrow? Before I could respond, my phone rang. The custom ringtone meant only one thing. Kate, my executive assistant. I had specifically asked her to call at this moment. Sorry, I should take this, I said, standing up. Really, Olivia? Mom sighed. How important could it be? I answered on speaker, letting Kate's crisp, professional voice fill the dining room. Madam CEO, I apologize for interrupting your evening, but the $50 million merger documents are ready for your signature. The board is waiting for your final approval. The sound of Amanda's wine glass hitting the hardwood floor shattered the sudden silence. Red wine spread across Mom's precious Persian rug like spilled blood. I'll be there in 20 minutes, I replied calmly. Have legal standing by for the final review. I looked up to find every face at the table frozen in various stages of shock. Dad's fork hung halfway to his mouth, a piece of chocolate cake dangling precariously. Madam CEO, Amanda whispered, her perfect composure cracking. Of Monarch Enterprises, I confirmed, smoothing my dress. You know, that little company that's about to acquire yours? Mom's hand flew to her throat. Monarch. But that's the fastest-growing tech company in the country? I supplied. The one that's been buying up firms left and right? The mysterious corporation everyone's been talking about. I allowed myself a small smile. Yes, that's the one. That's impossible, Amanda sputtered. Monarch is worth billions. Their CEO is some reclusive genius who never appears in public. I pulled a business card from my purse and slid it across the table. The embossed letters caught the light. Olivia Harrison, Chief Executive Officer, Monarch Enterprises. Not so reclusive anymore, I said. Just careful about who knows the truth. Dad picked up the card with trembling fingers. But, all these years, you said you worked at an office downtown? I do. The penthouse office of Monarch Tower. You can see it from Amanda's current office, actually. I turned to my sister. Though I suppose it's my office now too, since Monarch will own your company by tomorrow morning. Amanda's face had gone chalk white. The Morton Tech acquisition was a smokescreen, I finished. While your company was focused on that, we were positioning for a complete takeover. The paperwork goes public at 9 a.m. Why didn't you tell us? Mom's voice was barely a whisper. I looked around the table at the family who had spent years underestimating me. Would you have believed me? You were all so convinced I was a failure, it became easier to let you think that. Those business lunches, Amanda said slowly. When I saw you in restaurant lobbies, you weren't there as someone's assistant, were you? No, I confirmed. Usually I was there buying companies. Including last month, that exclusive development in the Heights you were so excited about. I own it now. Aunt Patricia, who hadn't spoken since the phone call, suddenly found her voice. The mysterious buyer who's been acquiring all those prime properties is Monarch Enterprises, I nodded. We've been diversifying into real estate. My phone buzzed again. Another message from Kate. Board members all present. Ready when you are. I should go, I said, gathering my things. $50 million mergers don't sign themselves. Wait, Dad called out as I reached the door. All this time while we were pushing you to find a real career. I was building an empire, I finished. One that's now worth more than all of Dad's connections combined. Olivia. Amanda stood up, her designer dress still stained with wine. The takeover. You can't, my position. Don't worry, I assured her, enjoying the irony. We're keeping most of the staff. You can even keep your title, though you'll be reporting to my EVP of marketing now. She's very good at her job, started as a file clerk actually. The silence that followed me out was deafening. As my driver held the car door open, I heard running footsteps behind me. It was Mom. Those charity galas, she said breathlessly. The ones where Monarch Enterprises donated millions. That was you? Someone had to make those executive decisions, I replied. Though I noticed none of you ever recognized me in the photos. I guess you weren't looking for the failure of the family in the society pages. Mom's face crumpled. We were so wrong about you. Yes, I agreed, sliding into the car. You were. The next morning, I watched from my penthouse office as the news of Monarch's latest acquisition broke. The business channels were buzzing with speculation about the mysterious CEO finally being revealed. My phone was flooded with messages from family members, ranging from congratulations to apologies to requests for jobs. Amanda's message was the shortest. You planned this all along, didn't you? I smiled, remembering all the family dinners where I'd sat quietly, absorbing their condescension while building something they couldn't imagine. No, I replied. I just worked for it. Kate appeared in my doorway. The board is ready for you, Madame Sue. I stood, straightening my Chanel suit. No more off-the-rack clothes needed. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, I could see Amanda's old office building, now sporting the Monarch Enterprises logo. Kate, I said, please send a gift basket to my family. Include a bottle of red wine for my sister. Something expensive. And a cleaning service recommendation for Mom's Persian rug. Already done, she smiled. I also took the liberty of sending them all copies of today's Wall Street Journal. Your cover story is quite impressive. I picked up the newspaper from my desk, studying the headline. Monarch Enterprises CEO revealed. The secret billionaire next door. Below it was a photo of me at last month's charity gala. The one my family had dismissed as another boring office party, when I mentioned it. Sometimes, I told Kate as we walked to the boardroom, the best revenge isn't proving people wrong. It's letting them realize they've been wrong all along. The boardroom doors opened to reveal the top executives of both Monarch and our newly acquired company. Amanda sat among them, trying to maintain her composure but looking distinctly uncomfortable in her now outdated office attire. Good morning, I said, taking my seat at the head of the table. Let's discuss the future of our combined companies. I have some thoughts about the new diversity initiative. Amanda's face reddened as I began the presentation. Sometimes success isn't about who talks the loudest or brags the most. Sometimes it's about quietly building something extraordinary while others underestimate you. And sometimes, just sometimes, it's about watching their faces when they realize just how wrong they've been all along.